An MP will today call for an end to rape complainants being cross-examined in court about their sexual history and the way that they dress.
Yeah, Liz Saville Robert is raising the issue in Parliament because she says the type of personal cross-examination can deter women from reporting assaults to police. Liz joins us now, along with solicitor and criminal law specialist Joy Merriam, who believes the existing legislation provides enough protection. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Liz, if we can start with you, undoubtedly protecting these victims and empowering them to want to come forward to report these crimes is incredibly important. But equally, as I'm sure Joy would say, is making sure that false allegations are found. Do you agree that there are certain circumstances where these questions that you're talking about are important to understand whether somebody is guilty or not?
Well, of course, justice should be there for complainants and for defendants as well. But what we have seen in the wake of a particularly high celebrity football rape case where the defendant was found not guilty in the end is that now victims are even more concerned about coming forward. And I spent quite a lot of time with North Wales Police last summer and with their Amethyst team. And between working with them and working with an organisation called Voice for Victims, what we found is that victims are more and more reluctant to come forward.
Joy, you're from the Law Society Criminal Law Committee. I'm kind of astonished to read that a woman's or a victim's sexual history and the way they dress is something which is seen as pertinent in a case, because surely the issue is about consent, not about somebody's history.
It may not be about consent. That's just one defence that arises in these types of cases.
But why would it ever be about the way someone dresses?
Well, I don't know that it ever is. I'm not aware of any cases where that's raised. It's certainly not permitted. The idea that, you know, you can go back to the 1970s and say because you're wearing a short skirt you're asking for it, that simply isn't allowed. And what Section 41...
So just to be clear, the way that somebody is dressed on the date in question is not a matter in a court case?
No, it's not a matter.
OK.
Your research has found that people have found that now.
Forgive me, but we have found otherwise. Joy, you refer to Section 41.
Yes, I do.
And I understand that from 1999, when that law was brought in, and the intention was indeed that that would act as a rape shield. But work done by Vera Baird, the PCC in Northumbria, reveals that 36% of rape cases in Newcastle Crown Court, Section 41, this sort of evidence, either the victim's previous sexual behaviour with another man, not with a rapist, and whether there were issues such as mental health and indeed issues about what people looked like, was indeed being raised in court. So the law was intended to protect victims, but we are seeing a situation where it appears that this is not being used as it was originally intended more and more. And there is this concern that victims are really too afraid to come forward.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is a very small survey. I'm not aware of any hard statistical evidence. All I can tell you is somebody who represents people who are charged with rape and knows many other barristers and solicitor advocates who do the same, that judges quite correctly apply the law very narrowly. And in the case that you've referred to, which we know is the Ched Evans case, the Court of Appeal said that was a rare and exceptional case in which they allowed the sexual behaviour. And what really concerns... Well, there are two things that really concern me, but one thing that really concerns me is the reason you're finding complainants are reluctant to come forward is because this is being this misinformation that they will automatically be asked about their sexual history is being propagated by your bill and by the media publicity about it.
And yet this is exactly what you're trying to prevent.
I think you have a very, very good point there, but nonetheless there is a feeling out there in the public mind that people's evidence, that their previous history will be used against them. Also, I mean, I'm a mother of twins who are 24. I'm very much aware that their generation have lived their lives out on Facebook. So this fear that is in victims' minds, I think that within justice we need to address.